Honestly, one of the ones that I tend to stick to is when they want a date, an anniversary date. I put the date I lost my virginity.
Genius.
Who knows that but me?
Only you.
Well,
Today, we are talking about a very important topic, internet safety. As we all continue to grow ourselves and grow our businesses, a lot of us are doing that online. And as we enjoy all the perks that comes with online shopping, connection, etc., we also have to be aware of the threats that are involved. But in those instances, who do we go to learn about internet threats, internet safety, and how we can keep ourselves safe as we grow ourselves and our businesses online? Well, today I have your answer. Today I'm speaking with the phenomenal Jihana Barrett, who is a cybersecurity expert. So let's welcome the lovely Jihana on. Hello, Jihana.
Hi guys. Hi.
How are you doing today?
I am well. I am happy to be here with you and all of you, obviously, but Gia has a special
Likewise. So for the two people on the planet who may not know who you are and what you do, fill them in, please.
Yes, I'm Jihana Barrett. I am a cybersecurity expert. I've been in industry for over 12 years now, working for the military, the government, private sector, and I have my own cybersecurity consulting agency where I help individuals and small business owners incorporate cybersecurity into their day-to-day lives and businesses.
So, Jihana, I want you to translate in English, because some people hear the word cybersecurity and they're like, oh, no, too many letters, does not apply to me.
Yeah.
In simple English, what is cybersecurity?
Cybersecurity is the practice of protecting your digital assets, technology, anything you engage with in that particular way. So it could be your phones, your computers, your smart TVs, your smart fridges, your cars, whatever it is, there is an element of security that comes with that technology that is required. So just as much as you would consider your physical security, you look both ways before you cross the street. That is your physical security. When we talk cybersecurity, maybe that's making sure that when you navigate to a website, it says HTTPS because it means it's a secure website. Same thing, it needs to be a reflex. So that's securing cybersecurity. As simply as I can put it.
Every day we are out and about, we are shopping, we are connecting, we are paying bills. Once upon a time, we used to do that in person. My parents used to walk over to the water office and pay the water bill. They used to walk over to the electric office and pay the electric bill. Now we're doing all of our mundane tasks via the internet. That's super cool. However, that does pose some significant threats that people are not aware of. So when we are paying our bills, when we are shopping online, which obviously has intensified since 2020, what are some things that we should think about when we want to maintain our safety in doing our everyday task online?
Right. So, rule of thumb, convenience for you is beneficial to hackers. And I say that because every time you only have to use your face to log into something, anytime you just put a fingerprint, anytime you have the same password across platforms because it's the easy thing to remember, anytime you say, oh, well, no, save my password in this browser, anytime you do the things that make it easy for you to engage with technology, hackers are literally saying, yes. Because what you don't understand is if it's convenient for you, it's easy for them. And when it's easy for them, you're the ones who cry in the long run. I would say one of my rules of thumb is to never save your password to the browser. It offers, and because somebody's like, oh, I can't remember to type this password in every single time, blah, blah, blah. Yes, save it. So that means if I get a hold of your computer, I can get access to anything that you've saved the password to without having to actually be you. So that could be your banking information. So how does one retrieve a wire once the wire is sent? You can't. But if I get your computer, I log into your bank account, I issue a wire, they send the security code to the phone or whatever, or the email that I'm already on. I enter the code, wire is sent. That is your computer. That is your IP address. That is you identified. $30,000 gone. And who's saying no? So it's things like that, right? That they think twice, slow down. I saw something Charlemagne posted on his page from the Breakfast Club, and he was saying, I don't have any more passwords in me.
Yeah.
And so many people kept sending that to me, and I was just saying, well, I've been telling y'all stop trying to create these passwords yourself. I literally am an advocate for password managers. They create the password for you. Some of my passwords are 48 characters long, uppercase, lowercase, specials, number. I don't know a password to a darn thing.
So I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I had to get clear. Please go ahead and explain what a password manager is.
Right. So a password manager helps you generate passwords, helps you store passwords, and it helps you authenticate to platforms without you having to necessarily type in your username, password, your credentials, essentially. Also, depending on which ones you're using, offers two-factor authentication. Sometimes it offers VPNs, basically, that allows you to encrypt your traffic from one end to the next. All of these things come through a password manager. You can save driver's licenses or like any identification. You can save credit card numbers. I cannot tell you the last time I typed in a password. And the beauty of a password manager is now you only have to remember one extremely complex, amazingly difficult thing. One thing that you have to remember. AKA, I love to tell people, you only had one job. So your job here is to remember this master password. You let that thing generate a password for everything. Every single thing. Not one account that you have on the internet should have the same password. No two accounts. Everything should be unique. But what that does is that when there's a unique password, if I get access to your Bank of America, I'm not getting access to your email. If I get access to your Gmail, I'm not getting access to your Chase, because it's not the same thing, and I can't figure those things out because there was no rhyme or reason. For people to remember things, typically we use a method to the madness.
Yep.
Well, my kid's birthday, my anniversary, here's my first pet's name, this is the street I grew up on. All of the security questions is your password.
Yep.
Now, if your password is JABCD, uppercase, lowercase, number, that makes sense to no one. That means nothing to you. You know what I mean? So it's a great password.
You know, it's so funny that you say that because I was watching a TikTok video in preparation for this interview. That's how dedicated I am. And one person said something so profound. She said, when it comes to answering security questions, lie. She said the lie. And it made perfect sense. Because she said, what do they ask? What's your mother's maiden name? What's the street you grew up on?
Yeah.
And she's like, and those are all the things that I can find out if I log into your Facebook account.
Yeah, 100%. I can't tell you the last time I told the truth on one of those things. And
it makes perfect sense.
It has to make sense to you. That's the only person it has to make sense to, right? Because my childhood best friend, that could have been the homeless man on the corner of my block. Granted, it means nothing, but the word childhood triggers that memory, which triggers that name, which is who I used to authenticate.
Yeah.
So trust me, I'm not talking about Mr. Bubbles on my Facebook. He's not even a thing in real life. Honestly, one of the ones that I tend to stick to is the when they want to date, an anniversary date. I put the date I lost my virginity.
Genius.
Who knows that but me?
Only you.
Well, I mean, the person that was there, but maybe it's not significant to them the way it's significant to me. And who would have thought that that's the date that I use for an anniversary? So again, it's something I'm never going to forget, but there's something that no one else would know.
Yeah. And that's something that you will never write on any paper.
Where am I writing that? For what purpose would I say, oh, it was this date? You know what I mean? So
genius.
Things like that.
Genius. Now, here's the other thing. I'm so appreciative that you said let's go down this road of password management,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to theft, because nowadays, once upon a time, we assume that people are trying to steal your money. But you said something so profound in one of your IGTV stories, your educational pieces, was you said that data is money. People are not trying to steal your money nowadays.
No, I want to steal your persona. I want to steal the things that I know that once I learn them about you, I know how to target you. For example, if I know your demographics, if I know where you're from, if I know how you like to shop, if I know where you like to shop, if I know what you're interested in purchasing at the moment, and I sell that data to a marketing company, how much more money are they going to get from you out of you because they know how to tailor everything they want to you than if I just took your money that one time? Because I'll take it, you'll realize, you'll change your password, your security will get tighter, and that's it.
Yep. Yeah.
What we trivialize the importance of is our information of what makes us unique. So we're like, when we don't read the fine print, hey, can we give this away? Yeah. I just need to get I agree.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you agree to get? I was like, how do you know you didn't give away your firstborn? How do you know that? Like, what are you talking about? Do we have permission to do this? Permission to do this? Like credit card companies, unless you opt out, you've opted in to them sharing the data with other payment processors, card companies. So
Wow.
now you're getting all of these tailored, like, oh, you're eligible for this credit card and this. How do you know that? Because you've shared my credit profile, because you know I'm within this particular, you know what I mean? Like, and you gave it away. No one asked you for it. So if I can now go to a database of information, I can go to
Mm.
school records, I can go into a hospital. If I went to a hospital database, I know what ailments certain people have, the age
Mhm.
in which they have it, their cultural or socioeconomic backgrounds. And I sell this to pharmaceutical companies who then target you. And all you're thinking is, dang, I was just saying how I had heartburn last week. And look at all the, look at that. You think that was by accident? And the thing is, that's without your consent, right? That
Yeah.
this particular entity did not protect your information the way they needed to, thus compromising you, but essentially still making you a target and making money off of you. And they're probably not even telling you when it happens because they don't know how to, they're scrambling to figure out how to even just get their operations back on track, more or
Yep.
less what's going on with you. And then when they do, it's like months later when at this point they've had your card information, your insurance information, all of this thing floating on in the internet where people have been selling and reselling, using and reusing, and you have no sort of alerts. You don't check your account. You're like, this is not how, tumble down the rabbit hole of just, I guess the downside of data breaches and how people just don't know how to handle it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And just to piggyback off of what you just said, to give you a real life example of this, I know you've heard millions of these stories, but once again, I thought of you, Jihana, because I was at work the other day
Mm-hmm.
and I was speaking with a coworker, and I forgot how we got on the topic of internet safety. And she said, "You will not believe what happened to me the other day." I said, "What, girl?" She said she got a call from HR and the workers' comp department because someone had stolen her identity and they got disability insurance and applied for a claim and were attempting to go ahead and claim money via workers' comp somehow, some way, all under her name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you imagine how petrified she must have been? Granted, they knew for a fact that she did not do it because obviously there's standards and procedures when you were going to do workers' comp anyway, and she didn't file any of that. But still, the fact that people, like you said, they're not here to steal your money, they're here to steal your persona, your most valuable entity, your digital presence.
Yep. Yep. And
That is something worth securing.
and the thing is, it is not as difficult as we think, right? I think part of the problem why data breaches happen and companies aren't being held accountable is because we're not asking the questions. Why do you need my social if I'm only signing up for the softball? My kid is only signing up for the softball team. Why? How are you disposing of my information once we're done working together? How are you storing my information? Questions that you are within your right to ask if you're gonna get. It's kind of like hospitals. When you take my blood, there is a protocol for how you dispose of biochemical, biohazardous waste and things like that, right?
Yes.
Why are we not upholding technology and the security of people's data and information in the same manner? Like I was filling out something, okay, they're asking for social address, this, that, and the third. Basically everything that would make me need that if you have this, I already am starting from a deficit because you would like if someone else took it and filed it somewhere, they would think it was me.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, just email it back to us. I absolutely won't email that back to you. Is there a secure database where I can upload this information to? I'm not going to send it via email that I don't know who's on the other end and can receive it. I don't know if it's a group email account. I have no idea. I'm probably not going to remember to clear it out of my sent to make sure that if I walk away from my computer, somebody can't just go through my sent or my drafts and see PI, personal identifiable information about me. So again, why are we not asking these questions? Because at this point, it's not that we don't know data breaches are happening and happening with frequency. So why do you need, no, don't store my credit card information. Okay, I'm no longer using this platform, but I want my account destroyed and deleted. Like, I don't want to just close the account, just delete it, destroy it.
But how do you find out verification if they're actually going to delete or destroy it?
So the thing is, we're all so used to this world of texting and that non-personal interaction. Get on the phone. Call, ask. So, and on top of that, also root around on sites because they have it, right? So I was closing out I was switching from one email service provider to another. Clicking through the site. Yeah, can I pause my account? Sure. But can I permanently erase my account? The option was there. It was for me to choose and select. Because the thing is, they also have a responsibility, right? How many times do we go to sites and actually read their privacy policy, their terms and conditions?
Never.
In that, it's supposed to tell you how long they're supposed to store your information, what information they're collecting from you, how long, and in what manner they're supposed to be using that information so that you know. So if I revisit your site a year from now and my stuff is still there, but it was supposed to be gone because you were using it for this amount of time, I actually have a lawsuit.
Yeah.
You know, so it's that's on the consumer side. As the business owner, am I being clear on how I'm using these people's information? If I have a third-party vendor or outsider working with me, am I issuing vendor agreements where they are agreeing to how they're using this information and how they're disposing it and how they're protecting it? Because here's the thing. If I'm working with Gia, the Gia outsources to Apples Inc. If Apples Inc. compromises Gia's information, Jihana doesn't know about Apples. Jihana thinks that Gia messed with her stuff.
Yep.
And now Gia's like, well, I didn't, but you can't tell me that because that's not my concern. My concern is that I gave my information to Gia. Gia was responsible for protecting it. And Gia didn't make sure that Apples had what they needed in place to protect myself.
Yep.
So that's another thing that even as business owners, again, you're not thinking about, you're not considering. So usually small business doesn't have the cybersecurity, the CTO, their chief technology officer, information officer. They don't have a whole legal department saying, hey, do we have contract? What are they saying? What are the responsibilities? But it is vital.
So we obviously address the issue that there is a need here. That is a no-brainer. And I also want to add that in many ways, the issues that we see taking place, a lot of people aren't able to the untrained eye, are unable to see and pinpoint the issue, they just see the problem. Case in point, all over the news when Facebook and IG and WhatsApp shut down. Okay? To the untrained eye, they're like, oh, that's weird. There's a glitch. No, that wasn't a glitch. That was a hack. That was a security issue. Can you elaborate? What were your thoughts on what happened?
You know what? More so than anything, two things stood out to me. The monopoly that Facebook has on social media platforms.
Yes.
And number two, how much business owners don't realize that they need to have to the best of their ability, their own bit of digital real estate that they control, that they can interact with their customers, clients, audience without having to go through someone else.
Yes.
Whether that is your email list, whether that is, I got a really good email come through. Her name is, I think, Source the City. Her name's City, but she does digital marketing. And when the hack is down, this is hour 2, and she's just like, so how many of you guys can talk to your audience right now? And I was like, girl. Because it is that as a small business owner. So say Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp was down for the week. How is that affecting your money? What would have happened if it didn't come back? How are you still making your sales? How are you still engaging your people, right?
Mm-hmm.
The how it happened or the why it happened. Remember, I operate from the not if, but when. So I'm not even moved by DDoS or whatever the issue is. Okay, fine, no, whatever. But again, 1, how you reach a new audience. 2, do you own a way to interact? 3, this monopoly is no joke.
Yep.
4, why are you so disturbed by not being able to tap into the internet in this way? Like, I mean, people are like itching, like withdrawals because they can't post or creep or whatever on the internet. And I'm just like, so nobody has books, Audible, YouTube isn't a thing. Hey, Twitter, like,
yeah.
And so I thought it was actually a really good time just to look at the business and the human element of things, more so than what happened. Because if the issue was, it was a denial of service attack where basically all these signals are going to the thing, nobody, like the average person doesn't care, right?
No.
All I tried to refresh my page and I couldn't.
Yep.
When is it coming back? So for me to get into the minutia of things, when I deliver information about cybersecurity concerns, the reason why I tie it into very everyday things is because I just need you to understand that everything is compromisable.
Yep.
It's not how it was compromised. It is that it can be compromised. And if anything, what you could have done as a consumer to prevent that. In the case of this was nothing that you could have done. Yeah. The consumer could have done to protect themselves, right? This was strictly a responsibility of Facebook and things like that. But again, now what if it was a time where you didn't have 2-factor authentication? You have a weak password, somebody gets it, and then I get a DM, hey, can you help me recover my account? Absolutely not. I don't do account recovery. But had you had this, you would have known, you would have had a strong password. There were a lot of ways in which you would have felt safer.
Yes.
Because it's not that the criminals don't exist. It's just, if I'm walking with my mace or my pepper spray or my gun or my taser, I just strut a little bit differently. Like, I mean, if they want it, I'm here.
Yes.
Not that I want it, but if it came, I can protect myself. Versus I'm out here, okay, everything's all well. And then I get mugged and I'm like, well, how did that happen? What do you mean?
Yep. Yep. I'm so happy you said that, because the one thing that it reminded me of is if Facebook, right, this so-called impenetrable behemoth of a company had any form of cybersecurity issue, which is my thesis for what took place this past Monday, then if Facebook got hacked, how much more so are they able to hack me? little old me, little old small business me. Oh, let me step my security game up, because guess what Facebook have that I don't have? The funds necessary to clean up the mess.
Mm-hmm.
I have funds, but I don't have the amount of funds that Facebook has to clean up the mess of what potentially took place, of their hack and their information breaches. Small business owners don't have that.
And the reality is exactly that. What the security incident that they happened that they had, or whatever it was,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that it can't happen to a small business. Facebook was down at best 6 to 8 hours. Your business would have been down in depth. They had a whole team hammering away at these servers, and you don't have that. So could you afford for your business to be down for days? If you are an e-commerce platform, your people are trying to get to your site to shop, and it's down for a week? As loyal as a customer wants to be, we are in a era of I want it and I want it now. So if you can't get me what I need, now I'm going to go elsewhere. Yep. And when you open me up to your competitor, and I'm like, oh, well, actually, I didn't know they had that. I like that. What's the chances of me coming back to you? And this is also why I say that there's certain things that just need to happen from the inception of your business and as you scale.
Well, let's go through that. What are they, love?
Cybersecurity being one of those things, right? Like you need systems, you need cybersecurity. You need, one, you need to own your domain and versions of your domain, the .com, .co, .net, .org, like .info. Own those. Whether you just only use the .com, it's important to own the various domains, because now a person's not wrong if they purchase the .co, pretend to be you, email people that they feel like you would be targeting, using your likeness in an email blast, and then saying, hey, I'm this person, come shop with me. Your customer is not looking to say, oh, well, no, that's not the .com, that's the .co. They're like, oh, it's a sale. Let me get this. You normally offering this for $600. Now you ordering it for $500? Okay. All right. I'll take it. And that's what it is, right? They're not wrong for purchasing that. You should have purchased it first. But again, when you are growing your business, the reason why you have a bookkeeper, an account, a CPA, this is because it's not your area of expertise. So therefore, your brain is not working like the way my brain is going to work and see certain potholes in your business makeup, right? Yeah. This is why it needs to be, whether it's a consultation, get it. Understand what your security needs are so that you can grow and scale from there. And a lot of people just don't do that. That was one of the things that is imperative, because it's actually called typo squatting. But, when people get those domains, it's important. And we're not even talking about if you're collecting credit card information, if you're storing emails, how you're targeting people. Again, back to that third party, you're outsourcing. You have a VA logging into this. You have somebody. Are they upholding the same security? Do you have access controls in place? Like, there's tons of things that my brain thinks about. What was the last time you thought about that, Gia?
Never.
And you wouldn't, right?
Never.
So, things like that.
So with that in mind, for the small business owner, obviously owning their domains, number one. Number two, is this correct? Of course, having a password manager. Let's go back and let's make this nice and clean up. For the newbie, because let's face it, in 2020, it's been fascinating how many new business owners have mushroomed during 2020, right? They are low on funds, but they are aware that I need to have some type of basic setup of cybersecurity, right? What are some basic things I can do now? I may not be able to work with Jihana right now, but what are some basic things that I need to learn and implement from Jihana right now in order to keep myself safe as I open up my first Shopify store and as I start my first Instagram page?
So I would always say everything starts with your password.
All right.
Fortunately and unfortunately, your password is the keys to your door. Yeah. It is going to be what it is. It's not, it's not optional in that way. Like, I need to get into this place. I'm going to use my key. Your password is that key. It is the first thing that tells somebody you are who you are. The second thing I would do is on every platform that gives you the option to do it, enable two-factor authentication.
What is that?
So it can be broken down by who you are, what you know, or what you have. What you have is a cell phone that it pushes an alert to. What you know is the security question that they're going to ask you. What you are may be your fingerprint or a face ID, right? So any of those things are secondary methods to verify that you are who you say you are, because this password and username made sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I always recommend using a authenticator app outside of your phone, simply because your phones can be cloned, your phones can be hacked. We walk around with mini computers in our pocket all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of, let me just send it to my phone. I can see your phone. I'd be like, what's that?
Yeah.
I could dupe your phone without being next to you or having direct access to the phone. I can clone your phone. So I prefer apps, outside apps, because regardless of what, you are, again, the only person that can get into that thing. And that code expires on a certain amount of time. I think it's like 30 seconds or something like that before it pops up, things like that. So that's one of the things I would suggest. We talked about the domains, owning all the variations to your domain. The other thing I would say is when you have to share accesses, I either create profiles like on those respective platforms and keep track of who has access to it, or I share things through my password manager without sharing the password. So it'll let me get in without, but be careful, right? Because unless it's absolutely necessary to share like when you create the account, you're an admin. Admin has privileges to change the password, to do all these things, right? So be careful of who you're giving that kind of access to. But when you can, just create a profile and let them do it and tell them what you want them to do, which would be create a two-factor and all that going forward. So those are like the three top things, like off the top of my head, that I can think of that if you're a newbie, baseline.
Mm-hmm. So with that, okay, going back to two-factor authentication, I want to make sure I heard you clearly, so I make sure the audience hears this clearly. You're saying, even though, like, for example, right? Once again, this is not sponsored. For example, one of the apps that I have is Duo Mobile, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one, not sponsored, but that's the one that I use. I have that on my phone. Are you saying that I should also have that app on my tablet as well?
So yeah, you can have it on your, it doesn't matter what platform you plug it into, right? Because obviously you're authenticating to it with something that you know how to. So even if you ended up downloading it on your tablet because your phone was compromised, you should still be able to get all of those codes as you see fit, right? Yes. Another thing that I would also suggest is downloading your security codes and keeping them like somewhere else, like not on your phone or anything like that. Only because I've had several people come to me asking for assistance where they had people hack their accounts because their passwords were weak. And every time they've changed their account, these people are exhausting their security codes. It's the equivalent of having that two-factor that gives you that update and stuff. So make sure that you're the one who gets that, who downloads that first set of codes, and then you don't put it in a place that it's easy for others to get to.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to everyone trying to secure their social media profiles,
Siri's acting up. Siri.
Hey, Siri.
God.
Siri likes the show.
She does. She was like, I didn't get that, girl. Okay.
No worries. So when it comes to people being so obsessed, I shouldn't say obsessed, but you know how it is. When people are starting their businesses, they also want to have a strong brand. People leverage social media to build their brands. Sometimes it can be more focused on gaining followers than making sure they're securing their social media profiles. Yep. So what are some things people need to do now to secure their social media profiles so they don't get hacked. Because I've seen that happen I know you see that happen all the time.
All the time. And I'm just like, what do you want me to do? No, honestly, it is password. It is 2-factor. And then after that, what I appreciate about Instagram is that they have a section there that says messages that came from Instagram.
Yep.
Which means if you didn't see that we sent you something, we sent you nothing. And therefore, do not go in your email clicking on things, changing passwords, because I never told you that that's what I was doing with you. I love that.
Yep.
It also lets you know like locations that people are logging in from. If you see anything that is suspicious or is not you, you can let Instagram know that, right? It's not a questionable thing. So I love that. Like, I think what I appreciate is that the brands are becoming aware of it as well.
Yeah.
When you report a page, it is like, is this someone you know? Is this, that, and the third? I also think as your brand is growing, it is almost part of it now that you have to remind people how to authentically find you.
What do you mean by that?
This is my website. This, like, have legitimate ways to access you. Fortunately, link trees, people can duplicate, come up with variations. But no, if my website is JihanaCybersecurity.com, then I'm saying the only place in which you're reaching me is JihanaCybersecurity.com. I'm not saying that it's a user error, but I'm saying if you went to Jihana and cyber is spelled with an I instead of a Y, I'm showing you that this is my page, this is what it looks like, leveraging what are those highlights and giving like basically your housekeeping. Like, this is my only page. I will not solicit money or anything from you. I will not be sliding in your DMs asking you for anything. This is my legitimate website. This is what it looks like. These are the only things you know what I mean? If you get an email and it's not coming from this particular thing, it is not me. I think doing that, because as you grow in popularity, it's a thing, right?
Yeah.
People know these are my prices. If you don't see me saying on this particular platform, unfortunately, if you're taken advantage of, that is not my responsibility, because you almost can't blame them because you never said it either.
Yes.
So that's the thing.
That's
I would say, yeah, I would say with, and then just having that conversation, because it's easy to create a bunch of pages, and honestly, it would be foolish of me to say, no, get all the variations to your name, right? You can try, but people, it'll be pointless. So what you can do is just, again, have the conversation. It is your responsibility, just like the way we're saying with these larger companies, help people stay secure when interacting and exchanging money or time or whatever it is with you. These are the only places that you will find me. This is the only things that I do. This is what the page looks like. These are my, like, just make it very plain. And after that, it's on the consumer, right? Yeah. We both have responsibilities. The company has a responsibility, or the brand, or the person with the business, and the consumer has the responsibility of doing your due diligence. Do you just open your door if somebody knocks, or do you look through the people? Look through the people.
Well said. Nowadays, we don't even look through the peephole. We just look on our digital cameras.
And then you're looking through the digital camera saying, who's that? If you don't. Same thing.
I like that. Now, obviously, today is October 10th. Time flies. October 10th, 2021. The holiday seasons are upon us, right? Now, as I mentioned earlier, the norm now of doing everything digitally, I'm flabbergasted, honestly, nowadays. I have coworkers who get their groceries delivered. They buy.
I am coworkers.
However, let me ask you this. We're going to sidebar. Do you know of any app or service that will come and fill up your gas? Because I would pay for that.
You know what?
I would pay for that.
I'm sure the reason why technology flourishes the way it does is because people are lazy.
Yes. Because
And
I'm not getting up in the middle of the night when I know I have to go to work, but I would pay a premium for someone to fill up my tank.
yep, just
So
come to me. Give me
okay.
gas. Yeah. Yeah.
I
No.
would pay a premium for that. I'm dead serious.
I know it exists. I'm not sure if it's all states.
Okay.
And I don't know like one to necessarily refer, but it exists. Yeah. You have people come to your house to wash your car, to take your blood, to drop off your groceries, to give you food, to pick you up. Why wouldn't they bring your gas?
Yeah. It's
Mm-hmm.
fascinating to me, and it never ceases to amaze me how technology is now interwoven into our everyday lives, whether we like it or not. There's
Yeah.
no real way, to be honest. I know people in the comments go, fight me. There's no real way to live off the grid anymore. I'm
I mean,
sorry.
okay. Can you? Sure. Why? If you're like not a survivalist who does this for fun, then no.
No.
Mm.
And that's why I'm so happy I'm having this conversation with you, because the more that we are aware of the vast benefits
Mm.
of this internet and digital world, the more we need to be aware of the vast threats that are upon us.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we're not having this conversation to scare people, but at the same time, we need to have these conversations so we can navigate accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that in mind, like I said, the holiday seasons are upon us. Everyone's going to be ordering everything. I think every ornament is going to be ordered online. Everything, right?
The
Everything's going to be
Christmas tree, long gone are the days of people like going to pick out the Christmas tree. Like now it's gonna be like just deliver it.
yes, it
Yeah.
will be. It will be. So, with that in mind, we have Black Friday upon us and Cyber Monday. And in reality, it should just be called Cyber Weekend because no one's going out to buy a thing.
No. Lines? What are lines? For
Who's
things?
doing that? I'm
No.
not. I don't ever. So,
Listen, I pay for express delivery. So I don't even know. Yeah.
so with that in mind, Jihana, we have the biggest shopping season upon us. And we
Mhm.
know this is Gia's estimate that 95% of the shopping is going to happen online. Yes, 95%. What are the potential threats that we need to be aware of as consumers when shopping online?
Right. So I love an incognito slash or private browser.
Hmm.
I never shop. I never just open up Chrome and just start doing anything in there. I prefer to do it from an incognito or private browser only because it doesn't store the information there.
Mm.
So it's not a bunch of cookies. It's not a bunch of this that is helping to curate my shopping experience.
Noted.
That's one. Number two, be mindful of the emails you receive. Make sure they're from legitimate sources, legitimate companies that you would shop with. Make sure, like, hover over the links. Don't just click on them. See if it's actually taking you to the site or it's taking you to a variation of the site. Look at who the sender is, making sure that it's the actual domain and it's spelled correctly.
Mm.
The third, making sure that the website that you're navigating to, that you're entering information on, is a secure website. So it'll say HTTPS. It'll have that little green lock in the top upper left-hand corner. And my biggest takeaway for the holiday season is using virtual wallets or card, basically not using your credit card, paying through a third party. So you ever go to pay for something and it says you want to pay through PayPal?
Yep.
When you go to PayPal, you can either log into your account or pay as a guest using your credit card information. That serves as an intermediary between the site and your information.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives them essentially like, you give PayPal your real information. PayPal gives them something saying, yes, no, this is legit. You can get this money, but these are the numbers and information I'm going to give you as the vendor. The beauty in this is If vendor is compromised, Gia's information is not compromised because it was done through PayPal. So Apple Wallet, things like that, I'm always a fan of. I don't ever really like putting my information directly into any of these platforms. That's also another reason why I make sure that when I do shop online, I always use a credit card, never a debit card. They have certain insurances that protect you, but while if in case it's not a legitimate site, if you have to report it for whatever it is, the creditors can give you your money while they're searching through and doing the investigation. Also, again, it's an intermediary. If they take your debit information, that's directly linked to your bank account. That compromise on a whole nother level. And sometimes what happens if you don't win that argument, you know? So it's important to, I would say those are like the top things that if I'm shopping online, check that email, check where it's coming from, make sure the site is secure. And when the opportunity presents itself to use an intermediary for paying for things, always use it.
I am changing. I thought I was doing good just only using my credit card. Now I have to change everything up because of you.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad. Oh, and incognito browsers.
Incognito browsers.
And with that too, I would always say log out of things, right? Like don't just click on the X. Log out of an account, log out of your bank account, log out of your email. It ends those sessions because there are things called session hijacking, which would allow me to then basically reopen that browser or that tab or whatever you were doing in that moment, still using the authentication that you used when you first did it. And I'm not you, obviously.
Ooh. Now here's my follow-up question to that real quick, which is I want to go down this topic of VPNs.
I love a VPN.
Can you tell the people what a VPN is first? And then I'll have my follow-up question.
So it's a virtual private network. So basically what it does is protect the communications between you on your computer or your phone or whatever it is, and the internet. So if I am in a public place and I need to log into my bank account, yes. I don't want to just go on a browser that, remember, you're connecting to the internet in a public place. Therefore, you don't know if it's secured. So already I'm compromising myself by connecting to to an internet provider that I don't know, that I can't verify. And then if I do certain things and transactions like banking and stuff like that, now I'm opening myself up to a whole nother world of things. Is because if I were a hacker sitting in that same airport that you're sitting in while you're logging into your email, and I start reading the traffic, there's tons of tools that allow us, what we call it traffic, but it's basically watching the connection between a device and the internet or whatever that device is doing. And I'm looking at it, you are typing in GIA@gmail.com, password APP, uppercase L, 3S, exclamation point. I now have your username and password to your email. What can't I change? I know everything that you do because of your email. I know where you shop. I know where you bank. I can change that password and then I can lock you out of that email account. All those things. So what a VPN would do is protect that time in which you are typing in your username, your password, because all I'm seeing is jumbled up stuff. There's no way for me to decrypt that encrypted tunnel, so to speak, between you and the internet.
So then with that, thank you so much for explaining that, by the way. I had no idea that's how it worked. I just knew it was important. I honestly, sidebar, you know why I know about VPNs? What? Because when I was visiting my family in Panama, I couldn't watch certain Netflix
because outside of the country. So if you did a VPN and did it as though you were in the US, now you can watch what you want. Yeah.
So I binged on Frasier. But like I was saying though. So now that we know what a VPN is, under what circumstances would it be advantageous for us to utilize a VPN when we're shopping and handling business online?
It should become normal practice, honestly. Why not?
That's a good point.
Like, do you need permission to like have the safety bars on your window, like just use it. It's an extra layer of security. Why give me a reason why you wouldn't want to use it.
Well, it's not that I wouldn't want to use it. It's actually, would that be fully necessary? Like right now, I'm in my home, so I'm using my home internet. Would I technically need to have a VPN when I'm using my home internet that hopefully is secured by Verizon?
How strong is your signal that someone from the outside can't pick it up?
Not that strong because it's already happened before.
Right. How strong is your password that it's not something that can be cracked?
It's good because of you.
Well, before that, like it wasn't that. I feel bad because it's getting really dark in here. So let me know. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but things like that, like you have a strong password, but some people's passwords are easy to crack.
Yeah.
Typically you use it when you know you are going to be out and about, like your work would provide it if they're on work devices, because they don't want you to necessarily compromise the information and the things that you'd be doing for them because of your home. And you would use that in your home, right? Like to use your work computer, they're like, listen, I don't know what you got set up over there, what you got going on. You better connect this thing just to make sure these people's stuff is straight. Same thing.
Got it.
Why not?
And you know what? Honestly, that's the same way as having a door with a lock and also having a door with a lock plus an ADT system.
1000%. And the reason why, now that it just hit me, why it makes even more sense to have it in your home is because you are doing the right thing on your devices, but is everyone else that connects to that? So how do you know they don't have a virus on their computer? Your whole family's their iPad, several devices connected. Compromise, I swim upstream to the router, then I can swim back downstream to all the devices connected on that router.
Jihana, that's a thing? That's like a whole thing?
That's a thing. That is a thing. Compromise the well of water for the town. I can poison everybody.
Good.
The well in your house, in this case, would be the router.
Good. Okay. Oh. Okay. Don't have to convince me anymore.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's a thing.
Now, the other thing I wanted you to talk about, because you broke it down so well, and I would love you to just educate the people here tonight. Like I said, in light of the holiday season and also year round, because this is something that's very unique to this time, which is a lot of people, like you said, a lot of brands and everyone is big on text marketing. So I get so many different texts.
Yeah.
And some of them I eagerly sign up for.
Stop. I'm always like, stop.
So can you explain what smishing is?
Yes. So, okay. In order to explain smishing, let me just explain phishing.
Okay.
So phishing is basically typically done through email, and it is designed to basically pretend to be a legitimate person or source and get people to give information that they wouldn't normally give. So in the case of email, I would pretend if you are banking with Bank of America, I send you an email saying, hey, Gia, we have some documents we need you to check out. Click the link below to sign into your account so that, you can get directly there. You're like, oh, maybe you've been working on a new loan for a mortgage. So you're like, oh, this is the bank. Let me click it. You never check where it came from. You never hover over that URL to see if it's actually going to take you to Bank of America. You click it anyway. It could have done a plethora of things, to include downloading malware onto your computer that it'll allow that person to be. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Can you hear me? Okay. That would allow that person to be in and out of your computer. Essentially, we call it a backdoor. So they would be able to like, okay, I can get in and let me play around. Let me put rootkits. Let me do a bunch of things. It also can say, nope, let me take her to a site. It'll look like Bank of America. I want her to enter her username and password. I'll let you do that. I'll say incorrect, do it again, just to double check, because I want to make sure I have the right password and username. You do it again. It's not going to authenticate because it's not the real one, but now I have your credentials. I could even redirect you to the real site after that. After I've gotten what I needed, then you enter it in and it's the real thing. You know, you go there and you're like, but there's nothing here. So with that in mind, smishing is SMS phishing. So that's advantage of your text message. And it does the same thing. Oh, it's Chase Bank. Click the link to do this survey because you just spoke to somebody. But I didn't talk to anybody. You click the link. Oh, UPS, here's the tracking information for your package. You know you didn't order anything, but curiosity killed the cat. So you click on it anyway. Oh, a new sale from this, but you know you've never, or AT&T, it's a plethora of them, right? Mm-hmm. It's not legit sources. It's not coming up accurately. Sometimes those numbers don't make sense, but you click on them anyway, and it does the same exact thing that it would have done in email.
If anything, Jihana, I want you to know the one thing I've learned and appreciated from you is to never click a link. I get paranoid. I never click a link.
Never click a link. Why click the link? Unless I am on the phone with you in real time, or I know I'm doing something that requires me to click a link. I'm not clicking anything. If it's Bank of America and you're telling me something's wrong with my account, I'll go to Bank of America. You know, I log into the official or like website on my own. I never just click the link because honestly, they're never telling you to get to a place that you can't navigate to. They're not. And if they are giving you, for example, you call the bank, they don't even, they're like, do not provide your social, do not provide your password, do not provide anything. As a matter of fact, is this the number? Does it end? We're not even telling you the whole number. Does it end in these 4 digits? Okay, we're sending you things. Just tell me those numbers that I sent to you. Okay. Like, so when someone calls you now and they're like, hey, this is the bank. We just want to verify it's you. Can you give us the last 4 of your social? No. What department is this? Okay, I'll call you. I'll hang up and I'll call back. Like, it's just because you have to be that. And I remember one time, a short story, something similar like that happened to me. And I was like, this can't be real. This is not how this works, because this lady just got on the phone asking me for my social and I don't know where she's from. And she's asking me legit questions, but I'm just like, paranoia. I hang up from her. I call and I talk to another rep and I said, hey, is it customary for them to ask me this, this, and this, or ask to provide this? It really took her to be like, yes. And the only reason why I trusted it is because I called into you. Called me with it. So I know, because I know I went to the official like 800 number. You know what I mean? Like, it was a completely different story versus an unsolicited phone call that I don't know you. Like, that's like somebody coming to your door. Oh, I'm a friend of such and such. You haven't talked to that person in a month or so. And then they're like, all of a sudden their friend shows up at your door and they're like, hey, can I stay? Can I? No. Versus I'm calling you, hey, did you mean to tell such and such that they could come? Oh, yeah. I mean, I still probably don't want you here, but I know that you come from a trusted source.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how that.
That was so good. Thank you. Thank you. Now, Jihana, we have people here who are not fully aware that they need to do better to keep themselves safer. So what resources do you have available for people who need to dive in deeper and learn more in a more systematic way?
So I take my time to teach who I can teach. Who is teachable, coachable, trainable. An assortment of things, right? So I always say join my mailing list. And I say that because I have things coming up all the time. A couple months ago, I did a live boot camp that was, people were just like, I mean, they were shocked, but to this day, I still get DMs like, girl, thank you, because of you. This is what happened. So I have, courses that talk to the individual that can help them through. I even have one for small business owners just to get their minds thinking about certain things. I've actually, because of the courses, creating a follow-on group. So it is basically, it is cyber. The way I give content and answer these questions and keep you in the loop, where you can be tapped into my community. I'm telling you all the things upfront and personal, like, hey, this is what happened in the news. This is what happened and why you should care. This is what you need to do going forward. Be mindful of this. Also answering your questions, giving you recommendations on softwares, platforms, things that can just help keep you safe. I have an ebook. All of this you can find through my website, cybersuite.com. Cyber without an E. So I'm pretty sure you'll description box it and all.
Yes. Link in below in the comments below.
So that's what I have.
One more time. Cybersuite.
Yep.
A luxury suite.
cybersuite.com.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Barrett, it was a joy and honor having you on for this segment of the show.
We did good this go round. So, like, honestly, a lot of people around me and how they execute and function in entrepreneurship is a cautionary tale for me. Their success is not the manner in which I want it. And so I don't care how much millions you've gotten. To me, you're an unhappy person.